Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Vincent. Vincent, how are you doing today?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me on. It's so great Dan and I were talking about this a few weeks ago, and it's so good to finally be on this podcast.
Thank you for joining us. So, Vincent, let us know where you live and what you do.
So, by trade, I am a molecular nutritionist. I hold a doctorate degree from University of Newcastle, Australia. And after I finished my PhD, I got a patent for my technology that I invented during my time as a PhD researcher. The technology was about how to extract antioxidants without the use of any chemical solvents. So in place of using ethanol, methanol, and acetone, I managed to find a way to manipulate the behavior of water molecules to do the extraction for us rather than the chemical solvents. And after I secured a patent for this technology, I then founded my company. It was a startup before. We have been growing since 2016. We went from one store in one shopping center in Sydney, Australia to now in approximately 2,000 stores in Australia and also Southeast Asia. And most recently, we just launched in the US, B2C, and in some stores in the Bay Area in the West Coast in San Francisco.
Awesome, that's great. So, Vincent, obviously, you have a lot of operations in running a good company. So, as a founder, what are your core responsibilities?
So, my core responsibility, as with a lot of startups, small company, or I would argue, because I've never learned business management or marketing or finance or business administrator formally. Everything that I know about running a business, owning a business, came from my dad. My dad was a business owner himself. So my dad always say that as a founder, as a captain of the boat, the leader, you need to know everything from the fanciest, most sophisticated role to a janitorial to carrying boxes and everything. And I took that advice to heart. I have to say that one of the things that I'm very proud of is that I could do anything in this company. And that gives me a lot of good understanding and good grasp of how the business should be run. But essentially, my role is to make sure that everything runs smoothly from normal operation to putting out fires. Because one thing that I didn't know before I became a business owner and a founder is that every day there's always things that it doesn't matter how much you prepare for, it doesn't matter how well you arrange everything, things can go awry. And if things can go awry, sometimes they will go awry. So I really do believe that having a passion when you own a business is very important, because for me, there are two things that gives me the energy and passion to wake up in the morning. The first thing is that because I truly love what I do. Not a lot of researchers, not a lot of scientists post their doctoral degree, their research after graduation, they can still proudly say that they are working on the same stuff in the same field of what they have been doing for the past, 10 years. Sorry. The second bit that fires me up every morning was that I founded the company because I wanted to help people. I want to make small but meaningful change in their lives in the way that they can be healthier and happier. And to me, you can ask any scientist, 99.9% I'm sure the reason why they got into the field of research was that they want to change the world. And for me, maybe changing the world is too big. And I'm not scared of thinking big or dreaming big. But sometimes I feel that making small, meaningful steps towards that dream is probably more important. So after a while, I changed my dream. I no longer want to change the world. I want to change someone's world. If I can make a difference in someone's life in the way that they can be healthier and happier, I feel that I have fulfilled my dream as a scientist.
That's awesome. That's great. Awesome. All right. So, in terms of marketing, every business needs marketing. So, as an entrepreneur and as a founder, obviously, as you said, you have to keep your eyes everywhere. So, obviously, you must have your eyes on the marketing side as well, because this is one of the essential part of any business. How you rely on the marketing? Are you doing offline marketing or online marketing, or you are relying on both?
First and foremost, I think you're absolutely right that marketing is an essential part of any business, because people often associate marketing as a snake oil trick to get people to buy something, to manipulate their behavior, their buying behavior to buy something. But that's not it. And I can tell you this from someone who comes not from marketing department. The reason why I said that is because whenever people mention about marketing or marketing a product, some of them immediately think that, okay, your product must not be that good, therefore you need fancy, slick marketing. I would argue that just like a restaurant, it doesn't matter how good the cook or the chef are, but without this food being presented to customers and trying it and actually enjoying the fruit of the labor, I would argue that it doesn't matter how good of a cook you are, it doesn't really matter. Taking that to heart, I firmly believe that marketing is simply a way for us to introduce this product to people. And we have a good product, so it would be a shame if people don't have the chance to come across it, to recognize it, and to try. So for marketing, we have been really lucky because when we first launched, the university helped us to launch it. So it's from the scientific point of view. When we launched in 2016, I feel that I was a little bit ahead of the curve and basically at the precipice of the change where consumers do not only want fancy, slick packaging, they want to understand the story behind a product. And especially in our category, skincare, vitamins, supplement, as well as functional food, people want to understand the science behind. People want to understand why should I choose your product compared to others. And because this is something that people put either onto their skin or into their body, the stake is even higher because you don't just want to. I mean, the worst thing that can happen when you buy the wrong bag or the wrong clothes is just you're returning it. There is no negative impact to your health. Our category is very different. Consumer trust is very, very important. So we're doing our marketing organically. People who try our products they will feel the difference or improvement within the first week. And therefore they will introduce it to their friends, their family members, because when something changes your life positively, 70% of our customers taking our product for supplement is to help with their pain and mobility. So when they feel they can move better without pain, they will then share the good news with their friends and family. And this is evidence in our loyalty rate in the supermarket. We know that skincare is probably one of the most fickle category in the fast-moving consumer goods or CPG, packaged consumer goods, because 50% of people, when they try a new product, they don't even finish the entire bottle. And in the supermarket, we have close to 90% loyalty rate. It means that when people buy, they like it, they come back and buy again. And the second type of marketing that we use, we leverage all the social media aspect, the digital platform that we can get onto. I separately do a little bit of a side project called Ask Dr. Vincent. So I used to be a lecturer, so I feel that just because I'm now in the business side of science, I shouldn't feel that I need to abandon my passion in sharing and teaching and lecturing about science, communicating science, because just like good product, science often put people off because they think that it is too complicated. It's not. It is how we communicate it. And I do believe that knowledge is power. It doesn't matter whether you're in science or academic world or in the consumer world, knowledge is power. And I, as a founder, as a brand, as a company, want to give that power back to the customers, and they can then make the decision for themselves. And hopefully they try our products.
This is awesome. Word of mouth is always pretty good. But don't you think so? As you said, like people should know what they are using and they should have awareness. So in terms of awareness, don't you think there should be some awareness campaigns as well? Because there's a possibility that you are missing someone who really need this.
I firmly believe that. I think awareness, you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, what if it's true in life, why is it not true in business? Why is it not true in the consumer world? If you don't know, a lot of people, I would argue, everyone wants to make a better improvement for their health. They want to be healthier. They want to be happier. A lot of people don't know where to start. And I do think that awareness goes beyond just branding. Awareness, as I said, it's knowledge. And that knowledge gives people power, gives people choice. They may not buy your brand, but in the first time, they may not buy your brand the second time, but coupled with good products with good review, we have 98% recommendation rate on a third-party review platform. So all of these reviews are verified. I feel that all things put together should help people to make a choice and to at least give us a go, because we believe that when people try our products, it will help them to improve their lives.
Yeah, that's great. So, Vincent, can you please share any challenge with us? Because I believe everybody faces challenges. At least every entrepreneur, every business owner faces a lot of challenges every day. So, can you share one challenge with us that you think is much interesting to share?
The reason why I was smiling and looking up was because I love this question. And I love it whenever I consume podcasts, when I listen to interviews, whenever entrepreneurs are being asked, what are your challenges? And I love that 80% of them will say, you don't see it as a challenge. You see it as, you don't see it as an obstacle. You see it as a challenge. You see it as something that builds you. You win some, you learn some. And I can confidently tell you that's BS, because I would argue that entrepreneurs are amongst the most resilient group of people that you can ever find, because we simply don't take no for answers. And I do believe that, like I said earlier, every day, not only you have to do your main job, right? You wake up in the morning, you have 8 or 10 on your to-do list that you need to get done, tasks that you need to get completed on the day. But sometimes, before even you get to the first task, you have to put out fires, because I believe in the Murphy's law. If something can go wrong, usually when you need it to not go wrong, it will go wrong. So the biggest challenge is to formulate plan B, plan C, plan D, and sometimes plan E. And I do think that it comes with an experience. I feel that one of the 2 things that are important in doing business or being an entrepreneur is, the first one is that you need to know your purpose. Luckily for me, I know exactly what my purpose is. My purpose is to help people in the way that they can be healthier and happier. So I feel that when you start with a good foundation, when you have that vision to do something, it helps to motivate you. It helps to encourage you even when the times are tough. And the second thing, and this may not be something that people think is important, but I do believe that we need to develop a thick skin. Because my mom always said when I was growing up that, Vincent, sometimes you get upset when you think people don't understand your dream, people don't understand your journey. But it's not their fault. It is your journey and your dreams. As long as you understand it, that's the most important thing. Other people, obviously people around you who love you, who are your friends, who care about you, will try to understand your dream. But essentially, it is up to you to understand your dreams. People only understand success. So they will eventually understand if you make it work. But it's not their responsibility to have an understanding about what you're trying to do. As long as you have a good understanding of what you're trying to do, that's the most important thing.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. You shared in a really good manner. Well, at least business owners are the ones who know their own things, their own problems, and they own the problems. So this is something obviously to cope up with the challenges. That's why they cope up with most of the challenges they cope up. So, but yeah, if there is someone who just have to do a 9 to 5 job and they're done with it after 5, they don't care about anything. But the business owner is the only person who has to take care about not just 24 hours, but maybe 365 days as well. So yeah.
Including when you're asleep. And this is not at all a bad thing. Like, I always joke when I say to people that, I even dream about my problem. But that's not a bad thing. I don't have any sleeping problem. And just as a challenge, I got that sleep, that sleep assessment that you do with all the chips and everything. Perfect score. The reason why I brought this up, not to brag about my sleeping ability, which I do think is a superpower, because you need to be able to shut down and reset and recover. But what I'm trying to say is that I live and breathe and sleep my dream, because I wholeheartedly believe in it. And I always say to my team members, to my staff, I always say that, I'm not placing a burden on you to perform at 130% or 100% or 100, whatever it is that represent the company's demand. Because it's my dream. If I have to work harder, that's not on you, that's on me, because it is my dream, right? What I'm asking from people from around me, from my team, is simply that after you finish doing something and you go to bed, I just want you to be happy, satisfied, and proud of what you have done. It may not work, it may fail tomorrow, but I want you to go to bed knowing that you have done everything that you could have done. You left no stones unturned. You have done everything that makes you happy. It makes you satisfied and makes you proud of yourself. And then you go to bed. And let the chips fall tomorrow, wherever it is. But usually, if you really, really have given it your all, you've done your best, usually the universe conspires to work for your favor, right? So that's it. And that's the reason why I feel that despite all the stresses, despite all the pressure and everything, I mean, downturn, currently consumer quote unquote recession, I still sleep well because not because I found the answer to the universe. It's just because when I get in bed at night and close my eyes, I don't think about I should have done this or I should have said this. I could have done this because I've given everything I could. And if that's not good enough, that's okay. I'll learn to be better next time, but there's nothing more that I can do today.
Makes sense. So, Vincent, I got it. Like, I was going to ask, how do you measure your success? But I think I got it that you measure your success with the satisfaction and the value addition in the lives of your customer.
Well, that's the philosophical aspect because obviously, if you speak to my CFO, how he measures success is very differently. But that's his job because he needs to keep us afloat. He needs to keep us in business. You know, I feel it's also important to know as an entrepreneur, as much as we need to be able to do everything, we also need to recognize there are things that we're not very good at. You can understand it, and worst come to worst, there's no one doing it. You can do it, but you have to have the ability to recognize things that you're not good at and delegate and trust that to someone else.
Makes sense. Awesome. So, Vincent, at the end, can you please give a biggest piece of advice to our viewers who are entrepreneurs struggling with the business or the ones who are planning to be their own boss?
Well, I always think of what I've learned so far, and it always goes back to the one sentence. You know, whilst it is good to be an important person, it is a lot more important to be a good person because you need to live with this, with everything that you do, everything that you represent, everything that you put out in the world. And if you look at yourself in the mirror and then the reflection is exactly what you want to do, it may not be someone who has already succeeded. It may not be someone who has already achieved all of the goals. But if you see that reflection and you feel that person is on his or on her way, I think that is 50% of the job. Obviously, the other 50% is you have to wake up in the morning. Having dreams is really great, but you have to wake up in the morning, take a shower, and fight for the dreams, right? So in doing that, I do believe that you need to know it's not all rainbowy and sunshiny. There's a lot of behind the scene things that probably you don't know until you actually get into the world of entrepreneurship. I recently went to Natural Product Expo West in Anaheim in March. And if you just go there and look at all the blinks, all the glittery facade, you would think that why would I want to do anything else? However, behind the scene, because I'm there and I was exhibiting and everything, I know that maybe I look very fresh this morning, but I was up till 4 o'clock making sure that we have all the flyers, we have all the brochure, everything, all the fonts are correct. We have the correct display for our videos and everything. So I feel that people need to know that. And I'm really happy you have this kind of podcast. You give people platform, and the question that you ask helps people to understand that it is not always just good thing. Sometimes it's something that can be quite devastating. But just because it is devastating doesn't mean that it's not something that people should do, because I do draw a lot of satisfaction from what I do, and that's all rooted because I'm very, very clear as to what I want to achieve. The money, the success, the commercial achievements, they're all really, really great. But at the end of the day, the reason why I got into the commercial side of science was because the first person that was helped with my invention was my grandma. My grandma couldn't walk before because of severe pain, and after being the first subject in our trial, she could walk again. She told me that I gave her a new life, and I want to do that. I want to replicate that success to people because you don't appreciate the ability to move without pain until you don't have the ability. And I want people to be able to enjoy their lives, to be healthier and happier. So if you want to reach me, if you want to read more about what I'm doing, support me with the products, support your health with our products, you can go to askdrvincent.com. Depending on where you are, it will then direct you to your the website of where you live, be it in Australia, in Indonesia, Singapore, or in the US. So askdrvincent.com.
Vincent, thank you for joining us today. I really enjoyed the conversation and learned a lot of things. So, well, thank you. and
Thank
stay
you.
in touch.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate the questions. It's not just a copy and paste question from the typical podcast. I really do believe that the questions help to shape the narrative of the podcast, and I'm very thankful. Thank you.
So nice of you. Nice.